From Tony and McGee getting chained together in the middle of an investigation, to Ziva getting sick at the sight of dead turkeys, these are NCIS's most hilarious episodes according to fans. Season 2's episode 10, Chained, gave us one of the most hilarious episodes to come out of the show. When McGee and Tony found themselves stuck to each other, literally. Being handcuffed can't be easy when you've got things to do, murders to investigate, or even just go about your regular day. The pair really struggled in the episode as they tried to navigate themselves around the office, working at their desks in close proximity, trying to answer the phone, and even while attempting to use the bathroom. Fans thought it was especially hilarious because the two characters have this fun banter between them, and being handcuffed brought them closer than ever. The only problem is they never asked for that. The episode's filled with Tony teasing McGee and McGee teasing him right back, all of which made it one of the most hilarious episodes ever. The two of them have such different personalities, with Tony being the spontaneous and extroverted one, and McGee being the introverted and careful opposite of him. With two such opposing personalities forced to work together, the episode felt cleverly written, and besides all those funny moments, it also showcased the two officers' ability to work together even in a challenging situation. This one was a fan favorite for sure, which showed us that NCIS knows how to balance humor with some serious crime solving. This is also quite apparent in Season 7's Truth or Consequences. With the plot of this episode starting out with Ziva going MIA, the team then starts to search for her replacement. But they also fear that the worst has happened, until Tony and McGee finally track her down. Turns out she's in Somalia. And it doesn't become easier for the two officers when they arrive, because they are quickly caught and Gibbs has to come to their rescue. While the episode starts off as a little stressful with all that tension around Ziva, it also ends up being quite funny. Fans loved the fact that the team shared this incredible bond with each other, because they came together and risked their lives for Ziva, who's being held in a prison camp. Even NCIS's very own Tony DiNozzo, played by Michael Weatherly, claimed that Truth or Consequences was his favorite episode too. He especially recalled how the makeup department had to put glue on his lips just to make him appear dehydrated and sunburnt in the desert. Plus, he couldn't even smile since his lips were glued. And every time he opened his mouth and tried to laugh, he apparently sounded like Dr. Evil meets Beavis. In the scene, Tony's also given a truth serum, which made the episode hysterically funny, because the character was so relaxed and undeniably himself. The show's proven time and again that it knows how to nail comedic timing. And one of the best examples of this is Season 10's Devil's Trifecta episode. After Diane's targeted for assassination, Fornell and Gibbs leave their ex-wife with McGee for her own safety. And this is where it starts to get hilarious. There's not a huge amount of storytelling in this episode, but the character development of Diane, Gibbs, and Fornell is wonderful. Especially the scene where Diane's promoted from an irritating mutual ex-wife to a full IRS agent. It was a genius move on the writer's part, because the looks on Gibbs and Fornell's faces are priceless when they discover that Diane's a federal agent with a complete badge and all. This is followed by even more hilarious moments, like when Vance announces that the three of them will be working together on the investigation. Gibbs narrows his eyes into the dirtiest look he's ever given to Vance, and the overall scene is just too good. Everything about Gibbs and Fornell's interaction with Diane is spot on in this episode, even when the two bumped into Diane at the bar, and she asked them what they were doing there. Fornell begins to explain, but he's instantly cut off by Gibbs, who's shushing him from behind. Fornell then shushes him right back in a questioning tone, and Gibbs shushes him again, which makes this whole exchange extremely funny. Diane shines once again in this episode when she's stuck in interrogation with Tony, and while Tony's made it clear that he doesn't like this situation any more than she does, Diane still ends up yelling profanities at the one-way window, knowing that Fornell and Gibbs are on the other side. Fans of the series commented that episodes like these prove why NCIS is one of the top-ranked shows. Another user also agreed, claiming that this is probably one of the show's most hilarious episodes to date. That's some high praise for sure. While Devil's Trifecta had a lot of character, wit, and great banter, Season 13's episode Viral had a lot of physical comedy that made it super fun to watch. Even though it was crammed with a whole lot more plot than usual, fans loved the fact that they got to see Tony and McGee at their absolute best. From murder and revenge to tap dancing and very itchy rashes, the episode had many fans laughing along as their favorite characters navigated their lives. It starts with the murder of a petty officer by a sniper bullet, and while on the scene, McGee saves Bishop from wandering right into Poison Oak, which is all over the shooter's nest. But Tony does get a nasty rash from the poisonous bushes. And since McGee's already had 2 awful run-ins with Poison Oak before, he doesn't make things any easier for Tony. He can't stop laughing at him and claims that Tony was right, and that this is much more fun when you're on the other side of it. DiNozzo doesn't find this funny and warns McGee that if he keeps laughing, he's gonna rub himself over everything he owns. It's this classic banter between the two that makes up for some great dialogue, especially in a scene that was supposed to be serious otherwise. But these two elevate it thanks to their great dynamic and the chemistry they've built. Even during Season 2's The Boneyard, Tony's fully engaged in trolling McGee, and it's pretty hilarious to see him playfully offer his half-eaten sandwich to him. Surprisingly, McGee accepts and takes a large bite out of the sandwich, right before handing it back to Tony with a casual thanks, as if Tony's offer was genuine. Tony, upon getting his sandwich back, immediately throws it away, indicating that he never wanted McGee to actually eat it. Fans love DiNozzo's pranks and watching McGee helplessly play along. Later, McGee and Delilah are having their own spat over what to throw out and what to keep as they prepare to move in together. Now, this is all happening as Tony and Ellie come in, so they decide to switch their argument to binary. But not just regular binary. It's binary shorthand to make sure their conversation is as private as possible. Imagine arguing with someone by shouting 011. Only McGee could have done something like that, but it still doesn't compare to False Witness from Season 8, which was definitely NCIS's funniest episode ever. Sure, it didn't feature the most interesting case, but it's still remembered for being one of the best episodes. Abby's in the lab running a turkey's DNA in the middle of a case, and yes, there's a real database for that. The National Wild Turkey Federation DNA Database, or NWTF-DNAD, and Gibbs' reaction to the fact that there's a real database for turkey DNA is absolutely hilarious. Abby, with her dry humor and sarcastic wit, is quick to point out that maybe they need a new acronym. You're right about that, Shudo. Later in the episode, while searching for a missing petty officer at several turkey hunting grounds, Ziva's already done with the sight of dead turkeys. And she claims that if she ever sees a dead turkey again, it'll be too soon. But the real funny bit comes when she exclaimed to Gibbs that maybe Abby's sending them on a wild something, because she cuts off her sentence when she literally spots a hunter with a dead goose. It's an obvious but clever play on turning the phrase wild goose chase into a literal visual for the show, which makes me think that the writers are just really having fun in the writers' room. So there you have it. From Ziva getting sick of the sight of dead turkeys, to Tony and McGee getting chained together in the middle of an investigation, those were NCIS's most hilarious episodes, according to the fans.